Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Hyperdrive Inn Devlog. It's been a super productive week, and I can't wait to show you guys what we have been up to. The project is slowly starting to look like a game, as there are only a handful of levels to be completed. I have estimated that the majority of content will be done by April, and it seems that this is actually happening. So, what's going to happen during the following 6 months, you might ask? After all, the content is already done, one might assume that the game is ready for shipping. Actually, once everything is in place, the work really begins. I've probably mentioned this in my previous videos, but I usually work without a solid plan. So many things usually change during development, so planning them in detail beforehand feels like a waste of time in my opinion. This doesn't mean that we're just making stuff up on the go, but a loose outline is a lot easier to follow rather than a detailed one. After we have all the content, we need to link it and ensure that we have a coherent package in our hands. This is where the material is starting to take shape. It's all about connecting the dots. This is where that loose outline really comes in handy. This method minimizes the backtracking because the majority of narrative is formed during this stage of the development. We know where the story starts, where it ends, and what are the key elements and what we want to say with our game, but that's just the bulk of it. We still need to connect the core of the narrative to the world, puzzles and characters we meet along the way. We also need to ensure that we are giving enough hints to guide the player completing the game several times. There are plenty of recurring characters, jokes, location and story bits which start to make sense after the game is completed more than once. Besides refining the structure and narrative, the 6 months after April are spent on quality assurance. Like I mentioned several times before, this is something that we can't afford to overlook. Every game ships with bugs, because you just can't take into account every single hardware configuration or all the possible combinations of different interactions. That still doesn't wash away the responsibility for a solid experience, and we're doing all we can to ensure that the game will work properly at launch. I'm eagerly waiting to get my hands dirty, because rigging the game up with all the content in place is a very enjoyable part of the process. This is when the pile of content is really starting to take shape of a game, which is extremely rewarding. I still have to wait a bit as there is content work to be done. After a few tough weeks in the mental department, I'm starting to enjoy the development again. During the next month and a half we start working on the ending of the game, and that's something that I'm super excited about. We're going to blow your socks off. And thanks again for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing for this channel. It would mean a lot. And Hyperdrive Inn is already on Steam, so you can go ahead and wishlist the game right now. We are launching on October, but we already have a playable demo, so you can visit the Infinite Hotel well beforehand. All the relevant links can be found in the description. But that's all for today. I see you guys again next week, but until then, bye bye!